Somehow I missed out on seeing the 1984 B-movie slasher Silent Night, Deadly Night. I know the remake is coming out very soon, but I decided to watch the original for the first time. And whoa. Little Billy witnesses his parents being killed by Santa after being warned by his senile grandpa that Santa punishes those who are naughty. Now Billy is 18 and out of the orphanage, and he has just become Santa himself. Alright, if you're into Munchies, stick around to the end because I do have 2 new ones for you to try out. Actually, they're for me to try out, and then I'm going to tell you if they're worth it. Alright, this is going to have some spoilers in it. It's 40-ish years old, and it's also not a good movie, so if you haven't seen it and you want to avoid the surprises, you can bail out now. The early teenage boy in me would have just loved seeing this when it came out. There is so much gratuitous female nudity that any hormonally charged idiot would be entranced by the amount of skin shown. And I'm not a prude. I mean, nudity doesn't bother me. Here, though, it's almost shown in this misogynistic and violent manner, creating a disturbing outlook on male behaviors rather than having any kind of seductive or sensual quality to it. But for the story, this has a straightforward trauma-induced impetus where we watch a very young boy see his parents get murdered on Christmas Eve by a criminal dressed up as Santa. Now from there, the kid Billy goes a bit berserk every Christmas, demonstrating violent tendencies because his psychological damage has gone unaddressed. He arrives at a point where he finally snaps completely, and then he becomes the axe-wielding murderous store Santa that the movie poster promises. The acting in this is just overdramatic, and it takes itself way too seriously for what it actually is. Now, thankfully, though, this means that we're treated to a ton of hilariously awkward looks and expressions from a lot of the characters. So many times, Billy, regardless of the age we see him in, has a surprised look. It's something of a mix between constipation and stepping on a Lego, but enjoying the pain. And the looks, they had me laughing out loud because of how exaggerated and ridiculous they appear. And then the performances themselves, they're overacted to a degree where everyone almost becomes a caricature of themselves, removing any supposed tension or dread that we're meant to feel, I think. And for the story, it's overly predictable, but also ironically funny because we watch Billy, now a young adult, take a job at a store where he then has to get dressed up as Santa. Now, as if we all didn't know this would trigger him into some kind of maniacal rage. Again, the looks we get from Billy, they're tremendous. There are a bunch of repeated looks, so I don't know if it's the same footage that they used multiple times, or if they just had him stare off menacingly into the void for some minutes on end. I mean, either way, it's unintentionally hilarious to watch. This also then works against the horror the plot is attempting to establish. Because everything is silly, the feeling we get is never fear or fright, but mild amusement mixed with a heavy dose of boredom. I mean, even within dumbness, movies can still accidentally channel ominous moments or a foreboding atmosphere. But this was actively working against itself. Maybe they were trying to be too serious and ended up becoming absurdist, but not in the traditional sense that's attempting to make a statement with the absurdity. Any chases here we get to see, they're slowly played out. So I'm assuming it's in an effort to create suspense, but missing the mark so that the usual actions of the victim are to stand in a spot and then scream as the killer just trudges towards them. I mean, at least a lot of the gore, though, it is bloody and violent. The practical effects, I think they still hold up to today's standards, using copious amounts of fleshy grossness to make several kills look very convincing. Now, this is probably the best part of the entire film. But don't hear me saying that this has a unique set of deaths or anything that was going to feel fresh or novel. And then with a lot of the minor wounds people get, or maybe if somebody's shot with a gun, these are pretty lackluster. It's the axe through the head, or the slashing of someone's sternum and stomach, or maybe a sledding decapitation, even a deer-themed puncturing. Those are more memorable. Now, like a lot of 80s horrors, I think this is trying to create a morality play, showcasing what happens when people succumb to the wickedness of sex, because we all know that, right? If you're a virgin, you live. Well, the movie forces the overused trope of harsh and strict nuns who abhor any form of sex, and then punish it with impunity anybody who even comes in the vicinity of a fleshly transgression. Now, this is supposed to show how vile Billy is and will become because of his deviant curiosities and actions, but what it really does is illustrate just how cruel the righteous people are, even though they're supposed to be the most compassionate and forgiving. So what ends up happening is that any potential impact a morality play would have is erased, just thanks to the contradicting message of unending punishment and lack of forgiveness. And reinforcing this shortcoming, the plot gives us two contrasting nuns, Mother Superior and Sister Margaret. Now, one is mean, the other very sweet. Neither of them, though, is fleshed out enough to become large story drivers, just short of the punishment that Mother Superior inflicts on Billy. So they're ineffectual as a palpable villain or even an impactful conscience. For a movie that's only 79 minutes long, it drags on and on. The violence can be exciting, but it's also spaced out so that there are large chunks of time where very little happens. I laughed incredulously at a montage of the older version of Billy as he works at his job, all while his supervisor, I guess, shown sitting at the desk, feet up, eating and drinking Jameson during every moment. This went on for more minutes than it deserved, dragging an already slowly paced story down to a speed that was kind of like a snail's crawl. And the movie's littered with sequences like this. I mean, I know that our editing styles and even our attention spans have changed since this movie was made, but there's certainly a tighter way to piece the narrative together that would lean on the darker moments and then use less of the repetitive and mundane scenes. This hasn't made me any more excited or intrigued to check out the remake version that's coming soon. I mean, not that I had high expectations, but if the current version is anything like the original, it's going to be dog crap. Silent Night, Deadly Night promises a thrilling and dark premise, but fails to deliver thanks to awkward actions, vapid and uninterested looks from characters, and then a very outdated view of women shown through a rapey male gaze. The gory practical effects are the best element within the movie, but it's not enough to counteract the boredom that's created by a limp and detached plot. There's a bunch of sex and nudity, ton of profanity, then a lot of violence. I give Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 out of 5 couches. I'm not sure I can even say that I'm glad I gave this one a chance. I'd much rather just check out some other slashers from that time period, like A Nightmare on Elm Street, or even the much earlier original Black Christmas. So have you seen Silent Night, Deadly Night? What did you think of it? If you haven't watched it yet, there are other early to mid-80s horrors that you should like, and I would like to know what those are. Let me know some of your favorites in the comments below. Okay, it's time for Munchies. I got 2 of them, and if you were around before for my honey-roasted peanut M&Ms, those were revolting. Got 2 new types of peanut M&Ms. First one, peanut butter and jelly. You have to forgive the packaging. It looks like a 5-year-old got hold of it and then just like... But they are peanut butter and jelly, artificially flavored chocolate candy. So I don't think these are actually peanut M&Ms. They just have peanut butter, which the peanut butter M&Ms are really good. But the jelly, I don't know. We're going to see. Let's see here. Oh, God, they're doing the whole thing again with that revolting color. This is just an off-putting color, M&Ms. Stop. This is like mustard. Not okay. The brown and the red, totally fine. But this is that, no good. Let's like pour a whole bunch from my mouth. That's not mixed. It's not really jelly that I taste. I mean, it's chemical, obviously, which I would assume. But it's also kind of sweet, like a different type of sweet than the peanut butter and the chocolate, except it's overpowering both. So I don't really taste much other than this fake fruit taste. These are better than the honey roasted ones. So there is that, if you count that. I don't know. Let's see. The other ones I got, caramel cold brew. What? Coffee with other natural flavors. Sorry, I gotta cleanse my palate here. That was interesting to watch, right? Okay, let's try these out. These are also not peanut M&Ms, but they are big. Wow, yeah. Okay, so you can see these are much, well, these look like peanut M&Ms, kind of, just not as oblong. They're more round. But we have normal colors. Red, green, yellow, orange, blue, brown. That's what I expect to see. Okay, let's... Ooh. I can feel the caramel. Caramel taste is not kicked in. The coffee flavor, though, These are good. Wow. If you like coffee, it's got a slight mocha taste to it, so the chocolate's not overwhelming. It doesn't overpower the coffee flavor. I don't really taste the caramel. I just feel the chewiness of it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing or a good thing. It's just kind of there. So this, okay. Peanut butter and jelly ones are disgusting. Don't eat those. Don't even, ugh. Caramel cold brew though? Heck yeah. Go for that. All right. Almost choked myself there. Sorry. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.